All right, so let's try a couple of these geometric formulas. Example 4, the area of a triangle, I've written it right here. You may already know it. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Now, if I ask you to find the area of a triangle, this would be very easy. I would give you the base, I would give you the height, and hopefully you would multiply it and then divide or multiply by 1/2. But what if you are told to solve for the height? Okay? In other words, I need this equation, this formula, and this is the way it looks, without the little picture there. I want you to take the height and solve the formula. Put this formula in terms for the height. So what you're going to do is, I can't give you any other numbers. This is the only number that you're going to have here, and that's not going to, that's got to stay there in some type of shape or form. So what you're going to have to do here is move the 1/2 and the B over to be with the A. The H has to be isolated. And once you've isolated the H, you've got it. So what's going on with this formula? My area is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. So this height, in order to get rid of the 1/2 and the B, I need to divide because they're being multiplied to the 1/2. So let's start with the B. How do we get rid of the B? If we're being multiplied, the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So in order for this B to go away, I've got to divide both sides by B. Okay, you see that? So the B's cancel out, and I'm left with A over B is equal to 1/2 times H. So far, so good? Okay? We're almost there, but the H has the 1/2 multiplied to it. Well, how do I get rid of that? Well, I have to take the reciprocal of 1/2. Now, we talked about when you multiply by fractions. I think this may have been Unit 3, maybe Unit 2. I'm not sure. But when you multiply by a fraction, you have to multiply by the reciprocal to make them cancel out. The inverse is the reciprocal. And what is a fancy reciprocal is a fancy way of saying flip the number over. So in order for this 1/2 to go away, I have to multiply by 2 over 1. And if I do it on this side, I have to do it on this side. So my numbers cancel. I'm left with my H. 2 times A is just 2A. 1 times B is just B. So if you look now, my H is by itself, and it's equal to 2 times the area of the triangle divided by the base. You have solved this formula for H. When H is all by itself, you are done, and you can box it. So now if I ask you to find the height of the triangle, given this formula, you can do it. Okay? So I'm going to, let's see, do we have time? Can we do the trapezoid? Let's try to do the trapezoid. For the trapezoid, we want to solve for H. Okay? So for the trapezoid, here's your formula. We want to solve for H. Okay? The B1 and the B2, that's just your notation for the top base and the bottom base. So this is it's just letting you know the difference between the two B's, okay? So what's going on is I have H times the sum of my bases divided by 2. So I'm going to rewrite this. A is equal to H times B1 plus B2 divided by 2. And I need to get everything away from the H. So let's start with this 2. This 2, it's divided by. This 2 is being divided. So if I want this 2 to move to the other side, it needs to be multiplied. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And when you do that, the 2's cancel. Your left-hand side becomes 2A is equal to H times B1 plus B2. Now, it's H times B1 plus B2. So if I want this entire term to go away, I have to divide it. And I have to divide it on both sides. B1 plus B2. Just like that. Let me do it on the left-hand side. Okay? Cancel, cancel. So the height of my trapezoid is 2 times A divided by the sum of the bases. There you go. So you'll have a couple of these. You may not see them on your homework, but I may throw one of these on the mastery check, so be ready. Okay, I'm going to stop the tape, and then we're going to do the last example problem before you start your homework.